This is a story about two brothers and their bicycles. Cam and Phil were twins. On their birthday, their parents gave them brand new bicycles, one red and one blue. The bicycles were the same model, but how they would choose to ride them was quite different. Phil wanted to try his bike immediately, so he hopped on the red bike and took it for a ride. Cam, on the other hand, was grateful for his bike and wanted to make sure he knew it well before he took it out. His parents were also cyclists, so he asked them about the best ways to ride. They taught him how to adjust the seat to fit his body, to look both ways before he crossed the street, and of course to always wear a helmet. Cam thanked his parents and took his blue bike out for a ride. Not long after Cam's departure, Phil returned with a scraped knee and a bent handlebar. His seat was too high, and he fell when he tried to stop at a busy intersection. Cam returned much later that day and told his brother and his parents about all the wonderful things he'd seen on his bike. Then Cam noticed Phil's scrape and his bent handlebar and became concerned for his brother. Phil was embarrassed and told Cam that the scrape was small and the mechanic could replace the handlebars. After their first experiences on the bike, the two boys had very different feelings towards their bikes and the world around them. Phil felt nervous about using his bike, and though the mechanic had fixed his handlebars, he was still apprehensive. On the other hand, Cam was inspired by his experience and felt more connected to his bike and the world around him. Phil saw his bike as a mode of transportation, while Cam felt that his bike gave him the power to travel the world. Inspired, Cam wanted to find a coach who would help him better understand his bike and his connection to it. Phil dismissed this idea, telling Cam that a mechanic could fix any problems his bike might have, but Cam was not convinced, for he wanted to travel the world and knew that a mechanic's tools were not sufficient for such a journey.
What does the tale of two bicycles have to do with power and responsibility and health? The two approaches to bike riding highlight two distinct approaches to health. Phil's approach represents the perspective that most people in our society have towards their bodies and their health. They don't take preventative measures because they take their bodies and their health for granted. They get sick and injured and feel disconnected from their condition. Instead of taking responsibility for their health, they rely on a doctor for a quick fix. Prescription drugs and surgeries take the place of common sense and lifestyle changes. Cam's approach, on the other hand, is one of self-empowerment through education and experience. It represents the perspective of holistic traditional medical systems that have survived for thousands of years to this day, one of interconnectivity between the body, the mind, and environmental factors. Traditional healers coach their patients along a path to a healthier lifestyle, empowering them to take control of their health and their destiny.
So whatever happened to the two brothers, Cam and Phil? Cam found a coach who taught him about his connection with his bike and how to take care of it on the long journey ahead. He told Cam about problems he might encounter along the way and how to deal with those problems. When he was finished with his training, Cam embarked on a journey across the country and eventually around the world. His journey was not without problems, but because of his coaching, he was able to surmount challenges and keep his bike healthy and in one piece. He returned home a changed man, satisfied with his journey and his experiences with his bike. Phil, on the other hand, used his bike to take the short yet dangerous journey to and from work. He often thought of his brother, regretting his own decision not to travel. His bike continued to fall apart, and he visited the mechanic frequently. One day, the mechanic broke the news to Phil that his bike was broken beyond repair, and he could no longer give him help. The two brothers traveled entirely different paths with their bikes, despite starting off that same birthday morning with that same bike. In this life, we are only awarded one bike, so the decision is yours. What path will you choose?